Welcome to the Compass Audiocast. I'm your host, Hawa Kambian. Prepare to revisit the compassionate wisdom many of us heard in our youth so that we can mindfully apply it to reimagine a future of work that we can all shape for the better. Welcome back to the Compass Audiocast. Thrilled to have you here. So today's quote is, "It's okay to make a mistake as long as you fix it afterwards." So in my childhood, I used to think about this in terms of pencils have erasers for a reason, so that if something unintentional or incorrect happens, we have the tools to make positive changes. When I started working as an adult, I started asking the question, what does it look like for a leader to adopt this mentality about correcting mistakes from their positions of hierarchical power, and how can I learn from that? So, my experience with this in work life is that I said no to a colleague's request, and that person then proceeded to communicate with me in a way that was unprofessional and gaslighting, knowing full well that the routine issue at hand was under their responsibility and ownership. It was horrible tone, tact, and timing. And I wasn't willing to accept this interaction or make it safe for it to happen again. So I decided that I had to discuss it with my supervisor to communicate my concerns. So why was this a problem? I mean, at that moment, someone was coming after my character and professionalism, and also involving a broader mix of people to essentially create a narrative and an inaccurate reflection of me, my role, and the reputation I had built in the organization. So red flag number one was because this person was more senior to me. We had the same supervisor, and so the power dynamics were completely imbalanced. Number two was because a large part of my identity at that time hinged around being agreeable and helpful. And in a moment when that was not who I was perceived to be, I was attacked for it. And so why does this matter? I mean, what I really wanted and what I really believe is that we are all deserving of respect. It doesn't matter our role, how many sales we've brought in, costs we've cut, or whom we report to. And in this situation, I perceived that no matter my growth, expertise, professionalism, or experience, I didn't deserve respect when I wasn't willing to be a people pleaser. And that's a hard pill to swallow, that sometimes people's treatment of me is going to be a direct correlation to what I can do for them when they need me. What I wanted to feel was empowered and supported in my own decision-making and autonomy, and not be held under the illusion of choice and the perception of my value based off of my automatic yeses. So let's get into bridging. What was my negative state? Honestly, I was overwhelmed and actually in shock that someone I respected and liked would approach me in that way. It automatically made me question my worth and value to the team when someone was willing to respond to me in such a hostile way. I was also absolutely experiencing righteous and healthy anger. Dr. Gabor Mate does a wonderful job of explaining how healthy anger is actually about protecting our boundaries. And in that moment, my polite no needed protecting. The positive state, firstly, I wanted a feeling of consistency from perceived leaders in the organization. This is where skills like emotional regulation are so important, so that despite what is happening in the external, our leaders have the skills to navigate their frustration at a problem versus a person. Secondly, I wanted the confidence of my no, and the acknowledgement that all the lip service about culture and leadership would mean that this style of behavior would be addressed and corrected. And this is really key when I think about the future of work that we're all participating in building, whether we know it or not. As a confident professional, I understand and appreciate that much of my journey is supported by the people around me and the genuine relationships that I'm able to form. My integrity demands that I'm spending 40 plus hours a week in the metaphorical work trenches with people who respect me and trust me enough to know that when I say no, it's a healthy, loving no. It's not an antagonistic, divisive no. And in that way, I can equally trust and respect my team back. That's what reciprocity is. The balance crumbles when that understanding and trust washes away. Also, from the reverse perspective of organizations, this whole interaction that I'm describing might sound minor or petty or negligible. And maybe that's the point, because while the situation itself was not a big deal, how it was dealt with shone a major light, foreshadowing what things would look like in a more urgent or critical situation. These are the behaviors that chip away at a culture. These are the microaggressions that create low staff engagement in practice, but super high employee satisfaction scores. Make it make sense. These are the microaggressions that generate high turnover from burnout despite mountains of applicants for open roles. Make it make sense. If the people whose faces are plastered publicly or quoted in press releases are normalizing divisive behavior and mindsets, then there are deeper issues at play than turnover stats or no one showing up to the staff outing. The future of work is going to see professionals and founders putting healthy relationship dynamics at the center of the JOB experience. So, what do I do today when I encounter this challenge of needing to address a faux pas of disrespect at work? 1, hold the boundary. One of the greatest gifts we have is our voice. History has shown us how great speeches have ignited movements, inspired hope, and paved the way for change. What about our silence? Silence can be a boundary, and one that allows us to not have an emotionally driven reaction to a situation that angers us or makes us uncomfortable. When all of this was going down, I made the decision at some point to be non-responsive and completely shut down any opportunity to continue the negative interaction. 2, talk to someone who can help. Once we've allowed our emotions to inform what we want to do next, it can help to release what we're feeling for our emotional processing and clarity. Whether it's my mom, shout out to all the moms during International Women's Day and month, a partner, a friend, or someone in my professional space, I share what I can in a way that is safe and positive. 3, clarify your stance. Everyone's situation and context is different, and it can be overwhelming, confronting, and uncomfortable to speak truth to power. But sometimes it's an important step in teaching people how to treat you so that you can resolve issues and continue to move forward, together or otherwise. For me, this looked like finding a mediator who could more objectively address the issue. Others, with immense emotional intelligence, might feel up to guiding that courageous conversation themselves. And in some cases, you may decide that part of holding your boundary is piecing out to greener pastures. So what is the life change? I mean, now I stand up for my respect instead of waiting for other people to give it to me. When all is said and done, I received an apology and acknowledgement of the inappropriateness of that behavior and communication. I welcomed it, I appreciated it, and respected the effort to clear and resolve it. The beauty of mistakes and uncomfortable moments is that they're life's realest and greatest teachers. They're almost like mini experiments to test what I believe in, what I'm willing to put up with, and my courage to defend my beliefs and worth. Now, when people make mistakes, malicious or not, intentional or not, shenanigans or not. They're really just giving me opportunities to choose my leadership, to build my reputation, and align myself with the correct people, places, and situations. And for me, this all lines up to the success that I'm seeking in life because it gives all of the challenges, mistakes, and pain meaning. The point was to go through the tests, mark them as testaments, and be able to testify on them now. Most people who make mistakes are acting from distorted emotions, whether it's hurt pride or deep anger. That's human. We will all experience and learn from those moments, whether we're dishing it out or being served. However, I always get to choose my response. And in some ways, that is a blessing because I can choose to come out smelling like roses and respecting myself, given my unique perspective on the situation. Thanks for tuning in to the Compass Audiocast, where we bridge past, present, and positive for the future of work. Please like this post if you found it useful, share it with someone who may need to hear it, and subscribe if you want to be notified when the next one comes out. Don't forget, we're going levels deeper on what it means to not just create, but live a personal brand that accelerates your professional journey. So sign up for our free mastermind conversation on personal branding that will be happening in late March. All the details are in the description box, and I'd love to be able to dig into your experiences and challenges as you navigate making or being on the receiving end of mistakes throughout your career. Leave me a comment to share some heartwarming ways that you've corrected or seen mistakes corrected at work. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.